They gave her the down payment for a house and said I should work 2 jobs like they did. If you're just tuning in, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on this story. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Stay tuned for more. The dinner table fell silent as the announcement echoed through the dining room. A check for $50,000 sat pristinely beside the mashed potatoes, made out to Simone, who had never worked a day in her life. The golden child, as she'd always been called, smiled sweetly while her parents beamed with pride. "This is for your house, sweetheart," their mother said, her voice dripping with affection. "You deserve this after everything you've been through." Everything she'd been through. The phrase stung like a slap across the face. What exactly had she been through? A failed marriage that lasted 8 months? A brief stint in community college that ended when she decided it wasn't for her? Or maybe it was the 3 years of living rent-free in their parents' basement while claiming to find herself. Meanwhile, the other daughter, the one who'd been working since she was 16, who'd put herself through nursing school, who'd been saving every penny for her own down payment, sat there watching this display of blatant favoritism. Her name was Kendra, and she'd been invisible her entire life. "What about me?" Kendra finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Her father looked up from his plate, his expression shifting to something resembling annoyance. "You're strong, Kendra. You've always been independent. Maybe you should consider working 2 jobs like we did when we were your age." The words hit her like a physical blow. 2 jobs. While her sister received a house down payment for simply existing, Simone had always known she was special. From the moment she'd taken her first breath, everything had been handed to her on a silver platter. While her older sister Kendra had been expected to earn everything, Simone had learned early that tears and helplessness were more valuable than hard work. "I'm just not good with money," she'd tell their parents whenever she needed financial help. "I'm more of a creative type." The truth was, Simone had become an expert at manipulation. She'd perfected the art of playing the victim, of making every setback seem like a tragic circumstance beyond her control. Her brief marriage had ended not because she'd been unfaithful, though she had been, but because her husband was emotionally unavailable. Her college dropout wasn't due to laziness, but because the professors didn't understand her learning style. Now at 28, she was finally getting what she'd always wanted: a house of her own. Well, technically it would be hers once she found a job to qualify for the mortgage. But that was a problem for future Simone. "Thank you so much, Daddy," she said, throwing her arms around their father's neck. "I promise I'll make you proud." Kendra's jaw tightened as she watched the display. She'd been making their parents proud for years. Graduating with honors, working as a pediatric nurse, volunteering at the local shelter. But pride, apparently, didn't come with a $50,000 reward. "I should get going," Kendra said, standing abruptly. "I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow." Her parents barely looked up as she gathered her things. They were too busy discussing Simone's house hunting plans. Kendra's hands shook as she gripped the steering wheel in her parents' driveway. 32 years old, and she was still fighting for scraps of their attention. She'd been the responsible one, the achiever, the daughter who'd never caused a moment's trouble. And what did she have to show for it? Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend, Maya. "How did dinner go?" Kendra stared at the message, unsure how to respond. How do you explain that your parents just handed your unemployed sister enough money to buy a house while telling you to work 2 jobs? How do you describe the feeling of being invisible in your own family? She typed back. "They gave Simone $50,000 for a house down payment. Told me to work 2 jobs like they did." Maya's response came immediately. "What the actual hell? Are you serious?" Before Kendra could respond, her car door was yanked open. Simone stood there, her face flushed with what looked like genuine emotion. "Kendra, wait. I need to talk to you." "I'm tired, Simone. I really can't do this right now. Please." Simone's voice cracked. "I know how this looks, but there's something you don't understand. Something I've never told anyone." Despite every instinct telling her to drive away, Kendra found herself turning off the engine. Maybe it was the raw desperation in her sister's voice, or maybe it was the faint hope that there was some reasonable explanation for their parents' behavior. 5 minutes, Kendra said. "I'm sick," Simone whispered. "I've been sick for 2 years and I didn't want anyone to know." Simone's confession hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Kendra stared at her sister, searching for any sign of deception. But Simone's eyes were filled with tears and her hands were trembling. "What do you mean sick?" Kendra asked, her nursing instincts kicking in despite her anger. "I have lupus," Simone said, her voice barely audible. "It was diagnosed right before my divorce. Marcus left because he couldn't handle it. I've been hiding it from everyone because I didn't want to be seen as weak." Kendra felt her world shift. Lupus explained so much. The fatigue that Simone had blamed on depression, the mysterious doctor appointments she'd dismissed as routine checkups, even the failed marriage that everyone had attributed to Simone's immaturity. "Why didn't you tell me?" Kendra asked, her anger beginning to transform into something else. "I'm a nurse, Simone. I could have helped you." "Because you're perfect," Simone said, wiping her eyes. "You're the strong one, the successful one. I couldn't bear to see the disappointment in your eyes when you realized I'm just another burden." Kendra reached out and grabbed her sister's hand. "You're not a burden. You're my sister." "Mom and Dad know," Simone continued. "They've been helping me with medical bills for 2 years. The house, it's not just a gift. It's because I might not be able to work much longer, and they want to make sure I have somewhere stable to live." The anger that had been building in Kendra's chest began to dissipate, replaced by guilt and confusion. She'd been so focused on the unfairness of the situation that she'd never considered there might be more to the story. Maya's apartment smelled like vanilla candles and fresh coffee. Kendra sat on the familiar couch, her head in her hands, while Maya processed the revelation about Simone's illness. "So let me get this straight," Maya said, setting down 2 mugs of tea. "Your parents have been secretly helping Simone with medical bills for 2 years, and now they're buying her a house because she might become disabled?" "That's what she says," Kendra replied, accepting the warm mug gratefully. "And I believe her about the lupus. It explains so much about her behavior over the past few years. But they still could have handled this better," Maya pointed out. "They could have told you what was going on instead of making you feel like the forgotten child." Kendra nodded. That was the part that still stung. Even if Simone's situation was legitimate, the way their parents had handled it was cruel. They'd watched Kendra struggle to save for her own home while secretly funding Simone's entire life. "There's something else," Kendra said quietly. "I did some research on lupus when I got home. The prognosis isn't as dire as Simone made it sound. Many people live full, productive lives with the condition." Maya raised an eyebrow. "You think she's exaggerating?" "I think she's scared and using it as an excuse to avoid responsibility," Kendra said. "But I also think my parents are enabling her instead of helping her learn to manage her condition." The sound of Maya's phone buzzing interrupted their conversation. She glanced at the screen and frowned. "It's my cousin who works at the hospital where Simone supposedly gets treatment," Maya said. "She wants to talk to you." Dr. Patricia Williams was Maya's cousin and the head of rheumatology at the local hospital. She'd agreed to meet Kendra at a coffee shop downtown, away from prying eyes and hospital protocols. "I want to be clear that I can't discuss specific patient information," Patricia said, stirring her latte. "But I can tell you that lupus diagnoses are carefully documented and treatment protocols are very specific." Kendra nodded, understanding the delicate nature of the conversation. "I'm not asking you to violate anyone's privacy. I just need to understand what we're dealing with. Maya mentioned your sister claims to have lupus but has been secretive about treatment. That's unusual. Most lupus patients need regular monitoring, blood work, medication adjustments, specialist appointments. It's not something you can hide easily." "She mentioned medical bills," Kendra said. "Said my parents have been helping her pay them." Patricia's expression grew thoughtful. "Here's what I can tell you. If someone were faking a lupus diagnosis, they'd need to be very sophisticated about it. They'd need fake lab results, false medical records, and a network of people willing to lie for them. But it's possible? Anything's possible. But it would be elaborate." Patricia leaned forward. "However, there's another possibility. Someone could have a mild form of lupus that doesn't require intensive treatment, but they could be exaggerating the severity for sympathy or financial gain." Kendra felt a chill run down her spine. "How would I find out the truth?" "You'd need to see actual medical records," Patricia said, "or catch them in a lie about their symptoms or treatment." As they parted ways, Patricia handed Kendra a business card. If you ever need someone to review medical documents, call me. Family deserves honesty. Kendra's hands shook as she knocked on her parents' front door. She'd spent 3 sleepless nights wrestling with what Patricia had told her, and she'd finally decided she needed answers. The house key she'd had since high school felt heavy in her pocket, but she wanted to give them the courtesy of answering the door. Her mother opened it, surprise flickering across her face. "Kendra, what a nice surprise. Come in, sweetheart. We need to talk," Kendra said, stepping into the living room where her father was watching television. "All of us, including Simone." Her parents exchanged glances and something passed between them that made Kendra's stomach clench. "Simone's not here," her father said, muting the TV. "She's at a doctor's appointment." "Which doctor?" Kendra asked. "I'd like to know more about her condition so I can help." The silence stretched uncomfortably. Her mother fidgeted with her wedding ring, and her father cleared his throat twice before speaking. "We don't think that's necessary," he said finally. "Simone values her privacy." "Privacy?" Kendra's voice rose. "She's my sister and she's supposedly dealing with a serious chronic illness. As a nurse, I could provide support and guidance. Unless..." She paused, watching their faces carefully. "Unless there's something you're not telling me." Her mother's face crumpled. "Oh, Kendra. It's complicated." "Complicated how?" Her father stood up, his jaw set in the stubborn expression she remembered from childhood. "Your sister is fragile. She's been through a lot and we're just trying to help her get on her feet. By giving her $50,000 while telling me to work 2 jobs?" Kendra's voice was steel. "I want to see her medical records." The silence that followed Kendra's demand was deafening. Her parents looked at each other with expressions she'd never seen before. Panic mixed with something that looked like shame. "You can't ask to see someone else's medical records," her father said, but his voice lacked conviction. "I'm not asking as a stranger," Kendra replied. "I'm asking as her sister who's been told she has a serious illness. And I'm asking as a nurse who might be able to help with her care." Her mother began to cry. "We were trying to protect you." "Protect me from what?" "From the truth," her father said heavily. "Simone doesn't have lupus." The words hit Kendra like a physical blow. She sank into the nearest chair, her legs suddenly unable to support her weight. "What do you mean she doesn't have lupus?" she whispered. "She was diagnosed with anxiety and depression after her divorce," her mother said through her tears. "But she convinced us it was something more serious. She showed us websites, printed out symptoms, even faked some blood work results." "You knew she was lying?" "We suspected," her father admitted. "But by then we'd already been helping her financially for so long. And she seemed so desperate, so broken. We didn't know how to stop without destroying her completely." Kendra felt the room spinning around her. "So you decided to buy her a house instead?" "We thought if she had stability she'd get better. She'd find a job, become independent." "And me?" Kendra's voice was barely a whisper. "What about me?" Her parents looked at each other again, and in that moment, Kendra saw the truth written across their faces. They'd chosen Simone because she was broken, and they'd dismissed Kendra because she was strong. Kendra walked into Simone's bedroom without knocking. Her sister was lying on the bed, scrolling through her phone, looking perfectly healthy. "Get up," Kendra said. Simone looked up, startled. "Kendra? What are you doing here?" "They told me everything," Kendra said, her voice deadly calm. "About the fake lupus diagnosis. About the lies. About the medical bills that don't exist." Simone's face went white. She sat up slowly, her phone clattering to the floor. "I can explain." "No," Kendra cut her off. "You can't explain. There's no explanation for what you've done. You've been stealing from our parents for 2 years, and you've been lying to everyone who cares about you." "I never meant for it to go this far," Simone whispered. "It started as a little exaggeration and then it spiraled out of control." "A little exaggeration?" Kendra's voice rose. "You faked a chronic illness. You made our parents think you were dying." "I wasn't faking being sick," Simone said desperately. "I was depressed. I was anxious. I couldn't function." "So you decided to make everyone else pay for your problems?" Simone started crying, but Kendra felt no sympathy. She'd seen too many real patients, too many families dealing with actual chronic illnesses, to be moved by her sister's crocodile tears. "The house money," Kendra said. "You're going to give it back." "I can't," Simone sobbed. "I've already put a deposit down on a place." "Then you'll figure out how to undo it." "What if I can't?" Kendra looked at her sister, really looked at her, and saw not the fragile, broken person their parents saw, but someone who'd learned to weaponize vulnerability. "Then you'll face the consequences for once in your life." 6 months later, Kendra stood in the kitchen of her new home, a modest 2-bedroom house she'd bought with her own savings and a loan she'd qualified for with her nursing salary. The walls were painted a soft yellow and sunlight streamed through the windows she'd saved up to replace. Simone had returned the house money, though it had taken threats of legal action and a family intervention to make it happen. She'd started working part-time at a retail store and begun seeing a therapist. A real one this time, not the fake appointments she'd been claiming to attend. Their parents were slowly learning to set boundaries, though it was a painful process for everyone involved. They'd agreed to pay for Simone's legitimate therapy sessions, but all other financial support had stopped. "The house looks beautiful," Maya said, helping Kendra hang pictures in the living room. "I'm proud of you for standing up to them." "It was the hardest thing I've ever done," Kendra admitted. "But it needed to happen." Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. When she opened it, she saw a message from Simone. "I start nursing school next month. I know it doesn't make up for what I did, but I want to earn things the way you always have. I want to make you proud." Kendra stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back, "I'm glad you're getting help. But you don't need to make me proud. You need to make yourself proud." As she hit send, Kendra realized something had shifted inside her. The anger was still there, but it was tempered by something else. Hope. Not for a return to the way things were, but for the possibility of something better. Outside, the sun was setting, painting her new kitchen in shades of gold and amber. For the first time in years, Kendra felt like she was exactly where she belonged.